Hi there, this is Ezekiel Dasho, back with Hand Drawing 4, and if you haven't seen my other hand drawing videos, give them a look, and hopefully those will be enjoyable to you. If you've seen them, you kind of know what the deal is, just using a fountain pen here, and it's the same process as the others. The difference in this one is the position, and the lighting is a little different, but not much. And there's just a little more emotional intensity in the position of the fingers in the hand in this one. So I wanted to do a video on it to talk about some of the differences and the hands are so communicative and expressive. They, in my opinion, they're the most expressive part of the body besides the face. Just going to bring this line here, this crease in the palm down here. And now that I've got my outline done, I can start adding some of the creases and features, and then we'll get onto the shading. Just kind of generally going with the shape that I see, and yeah, I think that's about all I need for the something like that would be the cuff of the shirt. And that's about all I need for the first phase. And start now with the shading and just identifying the main regions, and the regions where the shadows are. And I'm not going to go with the contour of the hand yet. I'm going to save that for later. And for now, I'm just going to focus on so like here would be a little area, here would be another, and another here. And just going through and kind of finding those shapes and getting them to a value that is closer to where they'll be in at the end. So let's look at this spot on the wrist here. And forearm here. Now this would be a different one. So the cross hatching kind of starts there. And There's the shirt. And let's get some extra darkness there. And let's continue on with the that first layer of so it'll come together pretty fast now that we've got these first layers of detail and some places we'll need a little more cross-hatching, and some places will need a little bit of the directional sort of rhythm lines, and some won't. I think that's a discretionary choice, but there's also an element of just study to it. So, like in this area here, this obviously is curved, and you could represent it that way, or you could just cross-hatch it and at the value, and then later add some of those curves. I tend to prefer, insofar as I'm capable of doing it, the method where you lay in the cross-hatching first in like these general areas and establish the value for the main area, and then come in with the directional stuff and the little accents and things like that to communicate the feeling of the motion of the skin and stuff like that. I think it just makes for me, a more informative study. Like, I need to learn about, have a deeper understanding of light and form and line. And I learn more when I'm using this approach than when I'm just starting with the directional lines right away. So like this whole area here might have a certain darkness to it that extends all the way down to there. And this may be same thing. It goes like this, and then wraps around, and then comes down and joins this area here. It wraps around a little bit like that. There's a lot going on, and so I've got generally motion established in the different planes in a lot of these places, and sometimes they'll need just a little accent to kind of get the eye rolling in the right direction, as it were. And then we're getting pretty close to wrapping it up here already. Maybe do a little bit of highlighting here on the ring. And see if I can find some other spots to accent here. Oh, get this finger under here could get some. See, that's obviously in a direction opposite the way that this would be with the plane. And maybe here we can start to extend this shadow out to the background a little bit. So that we can show that the back, or this part of the finger back here is, let's see if I can try to show it here. Catching back into the darkness a little bit. And then maybe, this part of the ring finger too. Just to give it that it just lets the eye know that there's layers of light and darkness there that the form is, subject to, and that helps it feel, I think, like a more real object in the space than it would if it didn't have that. So maybe, let's see here. Bring in some of that. And then, similarly down here, could bring in some of that too. Just helping that get let's darken this up by adding another layer of cross hatching here. And there's another shadow line down here, so I might as well add that too. And I've got this nice area on the thumb here where it's got a light shadow, and then maybe another very light, fast, area there on the hand. See if there are any other dark creases. Oh, here's one that I could add some depth to increase the drama of the form. This one definitely could go all the way here, and like that. And then this too, this line between where there's a shadow. getting that deeper. And then maybe, let's just do it. Let's just get this in the shadow a little more. Sometimes it helps to squint your eyes a little bit so that you can see what the shadows are doing a little more easily. Or if you've got your own reference photo, you could, just switch it to black and white and change the contrast and mess with it a little bit so that it's really easy to see your shadow regions. Once you kind of start looking for them a little more, you'll be able to easily identify them, I think. It's just definitely a little practice and a little training the eye to see So I think that's starting to look all right. And add a little more through there. It's just this process of at this point just accenting some of these creases and stuff to something like that. Now let's get in here with the white pencil, and if you've been following my other videos, you kind of know what I'm up to here. If not, I'm just studying the light areas, and wherever I see an area that's really bright, like this, I'm going to go in with the white pencil and just get that area defined. And I start usually with a light brush stroke, and then if it needs to, I'll get darker by pushing a little harder and going over it a few more times. But in general, just a light brush stroke is fine. And then you'll hit these highlight spots, and you want to, give those a little extra. There's like a highlight right there. There's a highlight on the ring. And then, for the part of the finger here, that's a little more lit up because it's the plane of it is facing the light. A little more like that. Some fingernail too. this area, this light area actually extends up pretty far and starts to wrap around. So we go give it a little bit of that like light brush stroke. Similarly here, that wraps around quite a bit. There's this nice bit of lighting right there too. We get that. It does wrap around a little bit. So basically that's the process for it. It's just nothing too complicated. It's just another exercise in looking where the light and the shadow are. It can be fun and it's pretty easy, and once you've got the drawing, the framework of the drawing like that, it can be really satisfying to just watch the drawing kind of light up with the... So it's like, definitely would recommend trying this if you haven't tried it before, just for the studying reasons alone. But I do find it pretty fun. And maybe a little bit right there and a little up in there. All right, so I think that'll do it for hand drawing 4. And if you've enjoyed this, please give me a like, a subscribe, share with a friend, and I hope to see you back here for hand drawing 5 already, sometime soon. My holiday schedule will start to get a little weird, but we'll post as often as we can. And thanks for being with me today, and have a great one.